How's it going, gamers? Chongo here, and today I've got a gameplay commentary for you guys. The gameplay is of Titanfall on the PC. It was the beta and I was having a lot of fun with the game, so hopefully you enjoy looking at something a bit different. And today's commentary is about EA and their love for microtransactions, so let's get into it. So pretty much everyone in the industry at this point knows that EA really likes to put microtransactions in games where most people could probably argue they don't really belong there. I mean, some good examples would probably be Mass Effect 3, where you could buy some certain packs with, microtransactions and have a chance of getting a better weapon. Although that wasn't as annoying because you could still earn, your points to buy it, it still was a little bit annoying the fact that when you do buy a game, you usually expect to get the whole game experience and not to give anyone a free pass to get through. But since Mass Effect 3 doesn't really have a versus mode, it doesn't really affect anything or make anyone pay to win or anything like that. There was also microtransactions in Dead Space 3, which some people were a bit pissed off about, which, the common response to if you're pissed off about microtransactions always seems to be, oh, but you can get it, without paying. But the fact of the matter is you shouldn't be able to pay to get past a level or pay to make your life easier. That's not the point of a game. So yeah, that's why most people in the gaming industry seem to really hate microtransactions. And I mean, with the recent Dungeon Keeper controversy where everyone just hated how they were doing microtransactions with that, it's obvious that EA needs to kind of dial it back on microtransactions. And I think this is the second year, last year, that they were voted worst company again. So they really need to fix up this kind of stuff, and they've said they want to, but then they keep adding microtransactions in the games when obviously people don't like them. And also, in case you were wondering, there will be no microtransactions in Titanfall, so that is a good thing. But yeah, it does seem like every single game that EA releases nowadays does have microtransactions. It's almost just like pick the games that don't include microtransactions. I mean, there's also Plants vs. Zombies 2, which had microtransactions in it, which was quite annoying for people considering the first game didn't have it. And the little bit of news that made me decide to make a commentary like this was that I heard that Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, which is the third-person shooter based in the Plants vs. Zombies universe where you can play as either zombies or plants and fight each other, which sounds like a kind of interesting concept. Some people don't like it, but I'm sort of intrigued to see how they pull it off, which is launching next week for the Xbox One, Xbox 360, and later in the year for PC, is said to have no microtransactions at launch. And this is good, obviously, because no microtransactions, especially in a game like that, it really wouldn't work well, especially not in a versus sort of a game. Now, this is good, like I just said, but the problem is the wording. To say at launch, it's kind of implying that they can't say it will not have microtransactions because EA might introduce microtransactions, which is, quite annoying. So I don't really know if they are going to put them in there. Maybe it's going to happen a month after, maybe it'll happen, further down the track. We're not really sure, but it's always annoying that they can't outright say, we will have no microtransactions in our game, like Respawn has said with Titanfall, because they can only say none at launch, because that's all they know at this point. Now, with all this, microtransaction hate, people seem to be really hating on EA hard for doing this stuff, but I can't really blame them for trying to make money, because that is the whole point of a business. I mean, yes, they're there to make fun and enjoyable games, but they're also there to make money. So putting microtransactions in their game, they see that as a way to make money because of all these other successes mobile apps have had and all that kind of stuff that make all this money from microtransactions. And especially with the recent news that GTA Online made $66 million in 3 months from just microtransactions, which is amazing when you think about that number. And GTA 5 broke sales records, and I think it was the biggest media release ever. So they made a whole load of money selling the game, and they made a whole lot more just by microtransactions, and they weren't even that big a part of the game. I mean, you could buy, the online currency, but you still had to get levels to get certain stuff. I mean, it did help you buy an apartment, but besides just having a place to store your cars, that's pretty much it. So it was, quite a large amount of money to get. So obviously when you hear stuff like this is going to push more publishers and developers to, seriously consider putting microtransactions in their games. So I've just said I can't blame EA for trying to make more money and trying to use the microtransaction basically craze that's taken off now. But I can blame them for the way they're trying to do it, because I don't think they're doing it the right way. They could do it a lot better way and not piss everyone off. So what I think they need to do is they need to stop targeting two groups, because it seems like they've got one game that's sort of a hardcore game, and then they have microtransactions in it, and it doesn't really seem like it's going to make them that much money, and it just pisses off both, groups of people. I mean, I don't think people are going to be paying a lot of money in Mass Effect 3 to buy extra packs. It wasn't necessary. Same with Dead Space 3 and stuff like that. So they need to make a whole separate game that isn't with an existing IP, so they don't, annoy the fans of that series like what they did with Plants vs Zombies 2 and Dungeon Keeper. Make a whole separate game, release it on mobile devices, and then you can put your microtransactions in that, and that's fine. Because I think this would work really well, because then they can focus on, designing the whole game around microtransactions, which obviously hardcore gamers would not like that approach, and it's just going to piss everyone off, and you're going to be voted worst company again. And if you do it that way, you're not going to piss off, like I said, hardcore gamers, because you're not going to have microtransactions in their games to begin with. You're going to be aiming at the casual market, which is perfectly fine, because it seems like they like microtransactions with Candy Crush and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on EA and microtransactions and how they could do it better, and this brings me to the end of my commentary. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like, and if you've got any comments about this, put it down below, and if you want to join the Gamerhood, just subscribe. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time.